Hi guys, this layout is called A Day of Fun in Bedford, and this is my Studio Calico kit for the month of October, which is called Roller Rink. I also have the Rainbow Knee Socks add-on, and I also have some flare badges from a company called Life in Bits and Pieces. The paper that I'm looking through right now is called the Everyday Eclectic collection by Echo Park, and I just couldn't find the colors I was looking for in my Studio Calico kit, so I took that yellow polka dotted paper from the kit, which is made by Tim and Beck and comes in the roller rink kit. And you see I'm running that piece of paper through my Cameo, and I'm coming out with this really cool overlay that's just a bunch of circles. The blue paper that you see underneath of that is from the Everyday Eclectic collection, and the colorful chevron piece behind it, I never did end up using. So I'm just going to take off the manufacturer's strip from that blue piece of Echo Park paper, and I cut it twice. You'll notice because the yellow polka dotted paper ended up being cut a funny way with my Cameo, and I ended up cutting off a little piece of it, so I wanted to make sure that they were both the same size so the blue piece didn't stick out. And so because of that, I do have to make sure that I orient them the same way. I'm just using some some dimensional adhesive that I picked up at Michael's. I buy them in kind of like a little baggie, and they come with a sheet of the wide strips and a sheet of the narrow strips, and I used both on this. And then I'm just using the same brand. I can't remember the company. If you really want to know, just give me a message and I'll find it out for you. The same brand also makes the little squares, and they're the same height, so I use them together. The Stampin' Up! Dimensional adhesive that I usually use is half the thickness, so I didn't want to use those for this project. So there I have the basis of my layout. It's just those circles, and I just put an arrow on both pages just so that I wouldn't get the orientation mixed up, just because it's not quite a square. Those are some Instagram photos that I took of my daughters at the candy shop. And this was about just a day that after school, when the kids got off the school bus on a Thursday, we just hopped in the car and went to a nearby part of town, and went to a fruit store, got some snacks, picked up some candy at the candy shop. Our kids never have candy, so it was a very big deal. And then we went to a nearby park, a waterfront park, where they love the play equipment. So I am just placing out some embellishments right now, and what I'm doing is the back side of that yellow polka dotted paper has really cool, very, very faint blue print on it that looks kind of like a bunch of, I don't know if they're Polaroid pictures or just like ledger papers and stuff with tape and stuff. Um, it was a very, very, very faint blue pattern, and I thought it looked cool, so I'm using the back side of some of those yellow polka dots for some accent pieces on my layout. I can't quite remember what I'm going to get right now. Obviously, I'm getting something because I'm away from my camera. So, maybe I was going to get a pencil, I'm not sure. But anyways, I am putting very, very faint pencil lines to show where the circles are, so that when I take off the yellow piece, it just helps me with the placement of some of the embellishments that I plan to put under the layout. And so I just took a picture of where I wanted to put all of my embellishments, and I'm going to refer to that for, putting everything back where it was. I think I also used my phone there to check the date. I don't know if that's what I was doing there or not. So those are the flare badges from Life in Bits and Pieces. And where I'm hanging it over the side of the page, what I'm showing you there is that I'm using one dimensional adhesive for the part that's on the yellow paper, and then I'm layering two for the part that's overhanging onto into the kind of hollow area that the circle creates. Now I'm going to glue down all of those light blue pieces. Again, that's just the back side of the yellow polka dotted paper. And just making sure that it all lines up, and figuring out where I'm going to place all of my badges. Love those badges, and they were the jumping off point for this layout. I really wanted to use them all together because the blue is just such a bright, vivid blue, and the pictures are so crisp, and I just really love those buttons. So I wanted them to be sort of the highlight of this layout. I'm just rethreading my machine because I didn't want to use orange thread on this one. I'm just using white thread. And what I'm doing here is I'm just doing some back and forth stitches. I'm doing some of them as zigzags and some of them as just straight stitches. And I'm just making it kind of messy and angled and back and forth type of look. So that's just going to give these circles a little bit more interest and texture. And then I'm also going to just pull up all the edges on those circles so that, again, that's going to give it all the more dimension. And then when you lay the yellow piece over top, what happens is some of the edges of the blue circles will be kind of peeking out through the holes in the yellow circles. So I put that last badge on, or I guess that's the second last badge. At this point, I wasn't sure if I was going to use the happy face or not, but I did end up using it. Now, at this point, I'm kind of trying to decide on the color scheme. Am I going to stick with the yellow and blue, or am I going to add some other colors, including orange? I really like those speech bubbles, but I'm not sure how I'm going to use them. And there are candies called Nerds, and so I was thinking about going online and getting a picture of Nerds and maybe putting something there, but then I changed my mind about that. These are the letter stickers and just general stickers from the Everyday Eclectic collection. Again, that's by Echo Park. And at this point, I think that I'm going to entitle this Freak Lunchbox because that's the name of the candy store that we went to. And although the pictures are from the Freak Lunchbox, the story that I end up telling with my journaling that I didn't realize at this point I was going to do kind of talks about everything we did that afternoon. So it didn't really make sense to call it Freak Lunchbox anymore. So even though I went through the kind of the motions of creating that title Freak Lunchbox, I'm going to end up changing it eventually. Which is, as you guys know, how I often scrapbook, is I kind of take things apart and put them back together again and change my mind about things. And that's, part of the process. So now I'm sorry I forgot to zoom out here. What I'm doing is I'm just taking various stickers from the sticker sheet and placing them wherever I think I want them to go on this layout. And I don't have a great plan here. I wish I had a plan. I think it might have turned out a little bit more cohesive if I had had a plan. And next time I do something like this, I think I'll definitely kind of decide where I want my clusters to go. I kind of just let them happen. Here I'm just trying to find the date, I think is, yeah. So I just double check the date and I'm looking for a date stamp. And you'll see I sort of have 3 clusters emerging. So I'm putting the date stamp on that sticker. So there's kind of I almost consider that one I'm working on right now like a minor cluster because it's really just one circle. But then I have a cluster where Olivia's picture is with all the lollipops. I'm considering that area cluster. I'm considering the picture of Sophie with the flare badge with the heart on it a cluster. And then over in the bottom-ish left corner is another cluster. I'm now using one of my Amy Tangerine date roller stamps that I just got this month from Studio Calico. I'm putting it in I'm using it as a pattern. So and there's a different, the date is the same on all 3 of them, but there's a different thing that leads into the date. It's either arrows or love, 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 or I can't remember what the other one is. The other one says happy memories. So, and that's what it looks like. I just kind of made a messy pattern type of thing with it. And I know that I'm gonna, once you overlay the circle, it'll look a little bit better. So there you go. And so those date stamps kind of mark my 3 main clusters. And now here's something I'm going to regret. I'm handwriting on this, and I really don't care for my handwriting in this particular situation. So I'm going to immediately pull off those little yellow dots and cover up that with another piece. And so, you know, that's the great thing about paper crafts, is that you've always got more paper that you can cut up and cover stuff up with. So I just redid my stitching so that that circle matches all the other circles, and pulled up the edges and put those little enamel dots back on, the little yellowish enamel dots, and it doesn't even, you can't even tell I did the journaling there. So now I'm just going to use my tiny attacher to make it look like some of these embellishments were just stapled on. And haven't fully committed to that title yet, which is a good thing because I end up changing my mind. So here's where I did the journaling. I keep my typewriter set up, and that's a piece of Echo Park paper from the This and That collection. And I keep my typewriter set up and plugged in and everything. It's just I don't have room for it in my scrap room, so it's in the back room. So whenever I need to do typewriting, I just go in and all I have to do is take off the cover and turn it on. It's not very nice back there, but it's okay for the amount of tiny amount of typing I do. It's not a bad location. So I'm stapling those on, and one of them I just put underneath because it didn't look good over top. So now you're going to get a bit of a close-up of how it's looking so far. I really love that Hello clothespin. It's really cute. And I can't wait to use more of those. There's a whole bunch of them in the Studio Calico kit. So this layout actually, so now I'm going to do a little bit of misting, and this is a very subtle effect because obviously most of this, I'm not misting, I'm actually splattering, but obviously most of these splatters are going to be covered up, but I just wanted some splatters to be showing just for another level of detail. This layout really only uses a few items from the Studio Calico kit. There's really more here from the Echo Park Everyday Eclectic collection than there is from the Studio Calico kit. But that's just the direction it went in. I was not planning it that way, but that's just how it ended up going. I used all the stickers were from Echo Park, and the letters were from Echo Park and stuff. So now I'm just having a look through my wood veneers. I have those speech bubbles, which I wasn't sure if I would use, so I really wanted to use them on this layout just because, I don't know, I'm kind of worried that I won't use them, so I guess I'm proving to myself that I will if I use them now. So I don't know if you can tell or not, but there is a wood veneer for each of the 4 clusters. I've got kind of 3 main clusters and one kind of minor cluster, if you want to call it that. And so there's speech bubbles next to each picture, and then there's a heart down by the camera and an arrow up by the Instagram flare badge. And I just misted them with water cooler, Mr. Huey's, and now I'm using my glossy accents to glue them down. So, and I'm just adding a couple more of those little enamel, those are by my Mind's Eye, and I think they're called enamel dots. And they came with the Studio Calico kit. And now I'm just adding a couple of little wood veneer stars, which I'm just leaving the stars plain. And once I find the placement, I just glue them all down with my glossy accents. So this is the second recent layout that I've done. I've done a couple way back, but this is my second recent layout that uses foam adhesive strips as a major part of the structure of the layout. I did one last month called New York Bound that also features paper that's, you know, overlaid quite with a lot of dimension, using the dimensional, I don't know what I'm saying here, guys. Using the dimensional adhesive is what I'm trying to say, I guess. What I just did there was I outlined the 3 circles that have the date stamp patterns in them, just to set them a little bit apart and add a bit more interest. I'm adding some orange and blue washi tape. It's an orange chevron and a blue kind of airmail stripe. And those are just from my stash. And I'm using the letters from the kit. Those are, I think it's called Sotheby's, and they're wood grain thickers that came in the Studio Calico kit this month. That's the roller rink kit. Spelling out the word Bedford. And then I'm going to use those Echo Park letter stickers that I already had set out from the Title Freak lunchbox, but I had to grab some other ones as well to spell out fun in. So it says fun in Bedford, and then I'm just going to handwrite a day of above that. So it says a day of fun in Bedford. So now that I'm mostly finished embellishing this layout, I'm going to take off all the little teeny weeny backs of those stickers, of those foam adhesive pieces. And you know, I really wanted each circle to stand quite a bit off of the background paper, and so it was really worthwhile to put the dimensional adhesive around every single circle, just so that when it's in my book it doesn't get flat or collapse in the middle parts or anything like that. So I really wanted it to have that really puffy look, for lack of a better word. So here's a close-up of how it turned out. This is a really different layout for me. I'm not quite done yet. I think I'm done, but I'm not quite done yet because, of course, when I look at this, it looks very all over the place. Like I was not happy with it at this point. It's kind of very, very random. So what I did was I went back and I added some of the yellow polka dotted paper. And, you know, I'd like to think that I designed this way on purpose, but really this was really just an afterthought, but I think it made such a huge difference in the layout. I love the layout a lot more with the yellow dots put back in. And so what I did was I left the blue dots such that they kind of guide your eye around the page, so that you kind of start up in the top right hand you start up kind of in the top left hand corner there by Olivia's picture, and you work your way down around that camera and then go over to the right to Sophie's picture, and then your eye kind of goes up to that Instagram flare badge. So I think I'm gonna do that right now. This is how I hope that a person would look at this layout, is in this order. And then finally ending at this cluster here that says makes me happy in the date. And for some reason I'm going to go through it twice maybe. I love that chevron date stamp, that I don't know whether it's the orange or the green Amy Tangerine roller date stamp, but I love, love, love that. So thanks for watching, guys. Okay, I'm back to just mention that there are some extra pictures at the end to keep an eye out for. After I had filmed this video, thought I was finished with the layout, I went back and added to the title some more colorful. I just needed to bring a bit of color down into the title, so just keep an eye out at the end of these pictures for that. Thanks for watching, guys.